In this unit, we will discuss requirements for trustworthy AI and the challenges in achieving them. The first of these 7 requirements is human agency and oversight, and that basically means that a trustworthy AI system needs to respect human autonomy and fundamental rights at all times. Depending on how an AI system is deployed, it can potentially have quite severe negative impacts on fundamental human rights, and in these cases, it may be necessary to assess the impact or perform a fundamental right impact assessment before the system to take the decision whether it makes sense to design it and in which way to design it. A trustworthy AI system needs to support human agency. That means that human users have to be able to make informed and autonomous decisions regarding the use of the system, the way that they interact with it. For that, they, of course, need to be provided with knowledge about the system and corresponding interaction capabilities. It also means that humans have to have the right to not be subject to a decision based exclusively on automated processing in situations where it has severe impact on their life, on their legal status, etc. Oversight, the second part of this requirement, is typically achieved through different types of governance mechanisms. The most known one that you have probably heard of before is human in the loop. Human in the loop is the capability for human intervention in every decision cycle of the AI system. This is ideal, but may not always be desirable or achievable. Think of time-critical situations, something like a safety feature, an airbag that needs to trigger very fast. In this case, it would not make sense to have a human-in-the-loop process. The second variation is human-on-the-loop, where there is a capability for human intervention during the design cycle of the system and during its operation through monitoring. And lastly, the human in command is the capability to oversee the overall system activity that includes its impact on the economic side, on the society, its legal impact and ethical impact, and also to decide when and how to use the system. That decision can also be not to use the system, and there should be ways of overriding the automatic decisions taken by the AI system through human users. Another aspect of oversight is the legal side, so public enforcers need to be able to exercise their legally mandated oversight over the system, and that is not easy to achieve. The next requirement that I want to talk about is technical robustness and safety. A trustworthy AI system needs to prevent harm from any living beings as well as from the environment. The first thing that comes to one's mind here is probably security. So this requirement implies resilience to attacks on the system. An AI system needs to prevent unintended applications of that system. So using the system in a context that it is not intended to be used for, and any form of abuse through malicious actors who have malicious intentions. For robustness and safety, it is also important that the AI system has fallback mechanisms. So if the primary operation of the system, let's say statistics-based, is not working, there should be fallbacks to, for instance, a rule-based system or even to a system that relies on human judgment. Another aspect of this requirement is that the system needs to do what it promises to do, and this even under changing circumstances, under situations that are hard to predict. doing what to do is the keyword for accuracy. So the system has to have a good level of accuracy. That means that the classifications, the predictions produced by the AI system need to be correct or as correct as possible. Of course, 100% correctness, 100% accuracy is not possible. There may be occasionally inaccurate predictions. The amount of them is depending on the use case, how much is acceptable, but the system in any case needs to state how likely these inaccurate predictions, inaccurate outputs are. The accuracy dimension also needs to continuously be monitored, so it's not just a design time decision when you choose a certain model, for instance, and also it should be measured on the own data of the system, not just based on any existing accuracy statistics, accuracy measurements that you find for the model in general. An AI system deals with a lot of data, with data aspects, so adequate measures need to be in place for data governance, and this aims again at the prevention of harm, for instance, harm to the privacy. A trustworthy AI system thus needs to guarantee the privacy and data protection throughout its entire life cycle, not only of the information that it initially is being provided about users or third parties, but also for the information that it generates throughout its interaction with the users. It has to ensure that the data is not used in unintended ways, that it does not unfairly discriminate against users, or that this data is even used in an unlawful way. Transparency is crucial for trustworthy AI, and transparency refers to the transparency of the data, of the system, as well as of the business models and the way that the AI system is being used. To achieve that, you require traceability of all aspects, traceability of the data sets the system used to train on, and also of the processes. For instance, how was the data gathered, or how was the labeling performed? And of course also traceability information about which algorithms exactly are being used. Another aspect of transparency is explainability, so the ability to explain both the technical processes and the human decisions involved with the AI system. Decisions made by the AI need to be understood by human beings by providing explanations, by providing additional information. And this is often at a certain degree of trade-off with aspects like accuracy. So in many cases, you can have higher accuracy with lower explainability, and vice versa. A more explainable system may have a slightly worse performance with regard to accuracy. The higher the impact on people's life, the more important explainability and transparency are becoming. Explanations provided about an AI system need to be tailored in a way that is suitable for the specific level of expertise that the stakeholder has. And this is by far not easy to achieve. The solution is not to just provide any information that you have that will easily result in information overload and overall a lower degree of transparency. So it's really about making sure to represent the right information, the right amount of information in the right form. It needs to be made clear to which degree the AI influences decisions, and in particular which decisions if it's a larger and more complex system. Here communication is the key factor. The very minimal requirement is that an AI system should never pretend to be human. This is deceptive design. This is a dark pattern. And communication should be also provided about what are the capabilities of the AI system and what are its limitations. The requirement of diversity, non-discrimination, and fairness puts a strong emphasis on fundamental human rights. It is there to ensure fair treatment of all individuals and groups, and for that, bias is a huge challenge. Bias can stem from imbalanced training data, for instance, or from flawed algorithmic designs, or also from unintended consequences of the deployment of an AI system, all of which potentially can cause unfair or discriminating outcomes. And such biased AI systems can reinforce stereotypes and existing inequalities and therefore potentially lead to significant societal harm. For that reason, identified biases, known biases should be removed. There should be techniques in place that ensure that outputs of the system are not biased. And what is more, of course, intended biases are even worse. So systems built to increase inequality by means of AI are not acceptable. For this requirement, there needs to be proper oversight put in place that continuously monitors outputs and also the impact of these outputs. And another way of addressing it is to make sure to hire from diverse social and cultural backgrounds and also from different disciplines, because the AI systems are complex socio-technical systems and the solutions to such requirements and challenges cannot be purely technical. For trustworthy AI, it is not only important to prevent harm through AI systems only for individuals, but also at the level of society and of the environment. Environment and society should therefore be considered stakeholders of the AI system lifecycle. When it comes to the environment, sustainability is important. Sustainability of the development and training, of the deployment, of the operation, and the entire supply chain. And to achieve that, you need to assess the resource usage and the energy consumption, and wherever possible, opt for less harmful choices for the more environmentally friendly design decisions. As AI systems are increasingly used in work contexts, in education, in administrative and governmental contexts, they can significantly impact our democracy and the society at large, and these impacts have to be closely monitored. Current risks that are discussed widely are, for instance, de-skilling or the manipulation of public opinion. In this last requirement, we talk about what happens when something goes wrong. In the end, someone needs to be responsible, and the responsibility cannot be offloaded onto the AI. That requires, first and foremost, auditability, so the possibility to assess algorithms, data, the design processes, the decisions around an AI system lifecycle, be that through internal or external auditors, and the availability of such evaluation reports can contribute to the trustworthiness of an AI system, especially in the case of safety critical applications or those affecting any other fundamental rights. It is important to have independent audits. Accountability also means the right to redress, and there needs to be accessible mechanisms for doing so.